Hello and welcome to the print video. I am Sumi Sukanya Datta. Are the spices sold in Indian market safe and what are the concerns around the lack of their testing? Recently, Hong Kong and Singapore banned several spices by MDH and Everest, saying there were unacceptable levels of ethylene oxide in these products exported from India. But this was not the first time concerns have been raised around the presence of this toxic substance in Indian spices. In 2021, the Union Ministry of Commerce and Industry's Spices Board had issued guidelines for exporters to prevent contamination of spices and spice products with ethylene oxide. Ethylene oxide is an established carcinogen as per the International Agency for Cancer Research. The comprehensive rules by the Spices Boards came following an alert from the European Union's Rapid Alert System for Food and Feed, which identifies health-related risks via food products. The EU had flagged the presence of the toxin in the spices exported from India. Now, high levels of the same compound have been detected in various samples of the two of most popular Indian spice brands, MDH and Everest in Hong Kong and Singapore. Following this, these two countries have banned various brands by these companies. But if you think this might be a problem affecting only exported spices, think again. The guidelines by the Spice Boards, the Food Safety and Standard Regulators Authority of India or FSSAI had also planned to adopt them, but there is no indication of the food regulator adopting or issuing these guidelines for over 56,000 registered license holders who manufacture spices in the country. The Food Safety and Standards Act 2006 bans the presence of any amount of ethylene oxide in food products. But does it also imply that the Indian consumers are protected from this hazard? We simply don't know because these products are not tested for contamination. A senior FSSAI official told ThePrint that as this substance is totally banned in food products in India, the authority doesn't check for this contamination in its routine surveillance program. Now, however, the latest episode has pushed the regulatory authority to carry out the safety test. Overall, there are also problems with the way food samples are tested in India. According to FSSAI data, more than 1.7 lakh food samples were tested across the country in 2023 as part of routine surveillance exercise to check the quality of food products. These included dairy, vegetables, pre-packaged food and spices being sold in the market. Of these, 25% were found to be non-conforming, either unsafe or substandard or misbranded or mislabeled or attached with misleading advertisements. Another worrying discovery was that 6,500 food products or 3.7% of these samples were declared as unsafe, which meant that the nature, substance or quality of these items were totally changed to make them injurious to health. In 2023-24, for which only provisional data is available, more than 20% of samples tested were deemed non-conforming. So, over the past 2 years, several food products in Indian market have been found to be in violation of the Food Safety Act. A food safety expert, however, argued that the data shared by the FSSAI doesn't mention explicitly, but a majority of the samples tested are mainly tested for adulteration and very few for contamination. He said that checking for contamination such as pesticide residues, antibiotics, heavy metals and natural toxins is a very resource intensive exercise. It requires high quality labs and trained personnel, which the agency seems to be lacking. The FSSAI officials maintained that nearly 70% of its 237 labs are high-end labs. But the question is, if the contamination checks are carried out, why is there a lack of transparency around it? Some of those working to improve the access of safe food products to consumers say that the food regulator works mostly as a reactive body rather than keeping vigilance to ensure large public health safety. Ashim Sanyal, Chief Operating Officer and Secretary at the Consumer Voice, for example, said now that some countries have flagged Indian spices, FSSAI may carry out the contamination test. But according to him, the body doesn't proactively check the food products for such contamination and makes that information public. Then there are the issues of law enforcement as well. Under India's food safety law, various offences can invite penalty and imprisonment up to life sentence in extreme cases. FSSAI statistics show that in 2022-23, more than 38,000 civil cases and over 4,800 criminal cases were launched by the regulator against food business operators for violation of various rules. But nutrition and food safety experts like Dr. Arun Gupta underlined that these numbers do not reflect the extent of the problem. Also, if poor enforcement of the law is one concern, there are issues at the policy level. Sanyal said that by any chance the traces of toxic contaminant in MDH and Everest spices would have been caught in India, it is possible that we would have never found out about it. Also, food recall in cases of violation of safety provisions is left to business operators. The loopholes in existing regulations and their effective implementation are a widely acknowledged problem. The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Health and Family in 2018 had noted that the policies and existing food laws are inadequate and are weakly enforced in the country. The committee had also said that the poor implementation of food law has resulted in rampant food adulteration and various food scandals. Food safety experts say that this may be a 6-year-old report, but not much has changed since. They also maintain that to make the regulatory system a reality, a better monitoring mechanism and centralized public feedback mechanism is needed. That's all we have in this episode. Thank you so much for watching.